How do you keep employees and teams motivated? And more importantly, how do you use that motivation to drive performance? So I've never gotten into gambling. I don't understand the point. If I found losing money entertaining, there are a myriad of different ways that I can just waste cash that are far more entertaining than just handing it to some international casino company. But I have walked through casino floors often, and I've noticed one thing about the world of gambling, which is that the vast majority of games are you versus the house and versus other people. Except craps, except the game of dice. The way that craps seems to work is that one person rolls the dice for sure, but everyone is betting on that one person's roll. And so if they roll the right number, from what I understand, the 6 and the 8 come up more often, and so a lot of people place bets on that. If they roll the right number, everybody wins. It's actually everybody around that table against the house. Even though it's one person rolling, it affects everybody else at that table. And what I like about the game of craps is that it really, to me, symbolizes the difference between teams that are highly effective, teams that are high performers, and teams that are not so much. See, teams that aren't so much are like all of the other games in a casino floor. They are, yes, you're fighting against the house, but you're also fighting against other people. Whereas craps is like the team of high performers. Your individual efforts affect everyone else around you, and so everyone is trying to put up their best performance to help other people so that we all win together. So in this video, we're going to talk about 6 ways, one for each side of the die, that you can drive employee performance and motivation on those high performing teams. Are you ready? Let's roll the dice. Number 1 is to make expectations clear. I mean, without goals, most of us are naturally aimless. We're just sort of wandering around trying to figure out what the most productive thing is. But when you make expectations clear, and when you make those expectations achievable, realistic, you unlock a level of performance that we've known about for about 50 years. It was Victor Vroom and expectancy theory that first said that if you lay out the clear, here is what we need you to do, here is how to do it and how we'll be measuring, and here's the reward that you get a different level of performance than when objectives are vague. And unfortunately, the way that we do a lot of performance evaluations, that annual ritual of performance, is far more focused on these sort of intangible things about being a team player, these intangible things about how responsive you are, etc. To the extent that you can, make expectations quantifiable, measurable, and achievable, and you naturally unlock a performance. As soon as there is a goal, we are more motivated to achieve it. Number 2, provide continuous feedback. If you are going to make expectations clear, then it's incumbent upon you as the team leader, as the team manager, to make sure that you're providing people with check-ins along the way so that they A, know how their progress is working towards that goal, and B, that they know what course corrections they need to make. Now, continuous feedback is not 2 very important things. First of all, it is not the annual performance ritual. It is not waiting 11 months like we talked about to give people feedback on how they did on a project that's been over for a half of the year. The other thing that it's not is that it's not vague. It is specific. It's not enough to just say, hey, you did a great job. Provide specifics on why they did a great job. Provide specifics on the level of detailed analysis that they did in crunching those numbers, or that the level of research they must have done before they put that presentation together. Number 3, correct privately and praise publicly. So we're giving this feedback, we're giving continuous feedback. We need to make sure that we're doing it in a medium that is appropriate for what we're doing. If somebody has a glaring performance problem, or they're having interpersonal problems on the team, the time to do that is not at the team all hands meeting. The time to do that is not in front of everybody for a couple different reasons. The first is our natural reaction when we're receiving constructive criticism or negative feedback, whatever you want to call it. When we're on the receiving end of hearing how poorly we're doing, and especially when we're around other people, our natural inclination is to be defensive. We may not hear you just because we're doing it in public. And even if we do hear you, we're going to be immediately provoked to defend ourselves in front of all of those other people instead of incorporating that feedback. So if you need to give continuous feedback that is correctional in nature, you need to do it privately. Now, if you're giving feedback that is praiseworthy in nature, if you're just showing how much progress we're making towards a goal and how well you're making towards that goal, then the odds are you're going to want to do that publicly. You're going to want to do that in front of the other teams, which does a couple different things. The first is that the person on the receiving end of that praise knows that it's much more serious, takes it much more seriously because you're doing it in front of other people. There's an honor, a flattery, a warm glow, if you will, that happens when it's done publicly. The other thing that it does is that the people around the table who are watching you, just like the people around the table at a craps table when somebody rolls a good roll, are all winning as well. They're winning because they see that you're the type of leader that notices the positives. They see that you're the type of leader that will praise. You're the type of leader that will celebrate small wins, celebrate their individual contributions, which will make them more motivated to give those contributions in the first place. It's worth giving a caveat here, which is that some people are not the most extroverted people on your team. And so if you sense that's one of the situations, you might consider praising them privately first and then asking if they're okay with the idea of celebrating that in front of the team. Number 4, believe in your employees. Your people, your team is looking to you for an honest assessment of where they are strong and where they are weak. They are looking to you and your opinion on how they are doing for cues about how their performance compares inside the entire organization and also out in the industry. And so your belief or lack of belief in them will have a giant spillover effect. It's not just the Pygmalion effect, but one of the biggest reasons that Pygmalion effect works is that if I believe in you and I begin to cultivate and grow your talent and your abilities, you begin to now believe in yourself more. So believe in your people, believe in your team, and you will find that they will begin to believe in themselves much more as well. Number 5, make rewards achievable. We talked about this with clear expectations, that when you have a goal, you are naturally now inclinated to move towards that goal, and that progress towards that goal, which was number 2, keeps you even more motivated. But one of the things we know from Victor Vroom and expectancy theory is that if we're attaching rewards to performance, and let's be honest, pretty much every organization is attaching rewards to performance, even when they shouldn't be. We did a video about that. If you are attaching rewards to the performance, then those rewards need to be achievable. Now, as a leader, this is hugely important because when we're thinking about extrinsic motivators, they often come in the form of quarterly bonuses, annual award trips, annual award ceremonies, that sort of thing. And while those might be achievable, they are a really long way out, and so they're difficult to keep track of in the day-to-day. So you need to be thinking about your own team and what additional, maybe it's monetary rewards you can fight for that get paid out on a shorter basis, or maybe it's some other form of reward, some other form of meaningful way to celebrate progress that you can do as a leader that makes not only the achievement of what you need to do to get that reward more likely, but also makes the time horizon, how far out you're looking till we achieve that reward, much shorter as well. And in the end, both of those things are going to bring people towards the behaviors that make that long-term reward much more achievable in the end. Number 6, let people know what they're fighting for. The other 5 elements that we've talked about so far will work. They will drive motivation and performance, but they are all very transactional in nature. They're birthed of a time of sort of Frederick Taylor in the Industrial Revolution, where the path was quite clear. We know this is what we want, this is how we're going to reward it, and here's how to give us what we want. If you're managing a factory, if you're managing work that is very repetitive, I mean, that's all great. But what will you do when the path is not clear? What will you do when we know the mission, but we don't exactly know the tactics? Well, I've found that one of the things that we can rely on most often in that case is a sense of purpose, a sense of mission, a sense of vision for what we're working for, because it will keep people motivated while they figure the other 5 out. And the way that I like to think of that, the litmus test that I use, is that if I walked into your office, if I walked up to a member of your team and I asked the question, what are you fighting for? And they can answer that question, even if you have never used fight rhetoric, crusade rhetoric, revolution rhetoric, whatever, if even if you've never used that rhetoric before, if they understand the question that I'm asking and they can tell me that purpose, that difference that the organization is making in the world and the difference they're making in the organization, then you have done a brilliant job of making that purpose clear and concise, digestible, and making it motivated. If you're navigating your people through a crisis, through unknown opportunities, through uncharted territory, then purpose and mission and what are we fighting for is probably the only thing you can rely on. The other 5 will be great, but they'll be a bit like gambling. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you, your house, and your team win every single time. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because we post episodes like this as often as we can. And if you really enjoyed it and you want to go deeper, then check out our totally free course, 3 Days to a More Motivated and Aligned Team. You can sign up for it at davidburkus.com/3days. We'll see you there.